1967, a Nigerian Navy armada under Navy Captain Soro leaves Bonny en route to Calabar. In the ships are heavily armed troops of the Federal Nigerian 3rd Commando Division commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Adenkule, the Black Scorpion. Operation Tiger Claw had begun. At the time, Calabar was part of Biafra and was defended by the Biafran 9th Battalion led by Major Ogbo Oji. In fact, his battalion was responsible for the defense of Biafra's entire southeast coastline, from Ikang on the Cameroon border to Opobo, 75 miles away on the Imo River basin. October 17, 1967. Biafran defenses on Calabar's beaches come under heavy Nigerian naval and aerial bombardment. Less than 24 hours later, the Nigerian 8th Battalion commanded by Major Ochefu disembarks from the NNS Lokoja and storms Calabar Cement Factory jetty. The small but stubborn Biafran resistance is quickly overwhelmed. Later, that same day, Major Ted Hammond's 33rd Battalion lands on Henshaw Town Beach. Among the troops is Colonel Adenkule, the division commander. Within days, the Nigerian army was in complete control of Ikang, Atimbo and Esugumbai beaches. Hand-to-hand fighting develops as federal troops roar into Calabar town on 3 fronts. Biafran commander Major Oji is seriously wounded and evacuated to Umuahia, while his outgunned and outnumbered troops retreat to new defensive positions around Hope Water Institute on the outskirts of Calabar. Lieutenant Colonel David Okafor, who replaced Major Oji, decides not to counterattack until Lieutenant Colonel Adigio's 7th Battalion arrived to reinforce him. However, the Biafran 7th Battalion had refused to go down to Calabar because their submachine guns had been withdrawn and given to Biafran troops confronting Captain Mohammed Buhari's 2nd Battalion in the Kalagu sector near Enugu. Evidently, by the time the Biafran 7th Battalion finally accepted the bolt rifles they had been given as replacement, their spirits were low. Now descending Lieutenant Colonel Festus Zakaria as brigade commander helped things. When Colonel Akaga finally arrived, Nigerian armored vehicles to which the Biafrans had no answer were fanning forward on all fronts. At this point, Colonel Adigio of the Biafran 7th Battalion develops stomach ulcer and is replaced by Major Omerwa. Helpless against the unrelenting Federal 3rd Division onslaught, a desperate Colonel Akaga relays a desperate signal to Ojukwu, Commander for GOC. Situation this sector definitely out of hand, if not hopeless. Not a single round of ammunition held, while enemy pressure continues ceaselessly for the past 48 hours. We intend to stay on and make the supreme sacrifice. Please, help before it is too late. We who are about to die salute you. Faced with a catastrophic military debacle in the Calabar sector, Ojukwu throws in newly arrived white mercenaries. But the mercenaries came under endless artillery and aerial bombardment. They found themselves presiding over a procession of humiliation. After suffering unusually high casualties, the mercenaries retreat 50 miles up to Ikotopora. From there, most escaped Biafra, never to return. Weeks later, General Gowon would be received ceremoniously in Calabar to the accompaniment of the beats of the Ekpo masquerade. Ill-prepared, poorly led, and ill-equipped, Biafran units were thrust into battle one after the other, and one after the other they were crushed. With the loss of the battle for the Cross River region, Biafra had lost its only land route to the outside world. And because the Nigerian Navy controlled the seas, Biafra's only remaining contact point with the outside world was Port Harcourt Airport. Over in the Midwest, Colonel Murtala Mohammed's Nigerian 2nd Division, which had stopped the Biafran westward advance at Ore, rode on to Asaba on the banks of the river Niger. Now, Colonel Murtala Mohammed turns his eyes across the Niger at the priceless Biafran town of Onitsha, reputed as the largest market in Black Africa. The Biafran 11th Division under Colonel Conrad Nwawo was in charge of the defense of Onitsha. Colonel Conrad Nwawa had come into prominence when he escorted January 1966 coup leader Major Nzaugu on his last journey from Kaduna to Lagos. The Biafran 11th Division was made up of the 12th Battalion under Colonel Mike Ivenso. The 12th Battalion was responsible for the defense of the area from Ida in the north to Sugbe. The 18th Battalion under Major Nsudo was responsible for the defense of Onitsha town, while the 11th Battalion under Major Achuzie defended the river line from Ndoni to Atani. The beach itself was heavily mined by Biafrans, as well as being backed by anti-tank guns and machine guns. Because the Biafrans had detonated the multi-million pound Niger bridge, Colonel Murtala Mohammed was left with only two choices: to march north and cross the Niger at Ida in federal Nigerian controlled territory, as advised by Army headquarters, or to carry out an amphibious attack across the Niger. But such was Colonel Murtala's prestige within the army that he could ignore Army headquarters' advice. On the 4th of October, Murtala orders the artillery bombardment of Onitsha. Days later, Colonel Murtala personally leads a 10-boat armada towards Onitsha. The Biafrans resist stubbornly, but are forced to retreat in disarray. However, instead of pursuing the retreating Biafrans and occupying the town, the federal troops turned their energy on looting Onitsha market, then burning it to the ground. This gave the Biafrans time to reorganize and, of course, counterattack. Achuzie leads his men in a counterattack down New Market Road. While another pincer under Major Nsudo swings down Old Market Road. Murtala's troops on the Onitsha beachhead are totally routed. Undaunted, Colonel Murtala orders his troops under Captain Inyang Basi to cross the Niger into Onitsha. Again, he is defeated. Adamant, Colonel Murtala orders Lieutenant Colonel Alani Akinrinade to carry out a third assault across the Niger on Onitsha. For a third time, Achuzie's troops thwart the Nigerian attack. Only now did the folly of attacking Onitsha cross the Niger down on Murtala, and so Colonel Murtala Mohammed turned and headed north, then crossed the Niger at Ida. Colonel Murtala Mohammed's long march to Onitsha had begun. In December 1968, Colonel Murtala leads Captain Shehu Yaradua's 6th Brigade through Nsukka to Enugu, which had been captured by the young Major Theophilus Danjuma in the early stages of the Civil War. In early January, Lieutenant Colonel Murtala Mohammed launches a two-pronged attack, one down the Abi-Nibo axis and the other on the Agbo-Nkpologo axis. On the Nkpologo axis, a powerful Nigerian 2nd Division contingent engages Colonel Christian Ude's 53rd Brigade, reinforced by Captain Charles Leroy's mercenaries. On the Atani axis, Muritala's troops attacked Colonel Mike Evenso's Biafran 12th Battalion, forcing the Biafrans to retreat to Ukpabi Nibo. Inexorably, Colonel Murtala's formidable military machine rolled on, smashing through Biafran-made obstacles, including detonated bridges. A few weeks later, Captain Leroy, the French mercenary commander, is wounded and evacuated. Biafran 53rd Brigade troops panic and turn their weapons on their officers. Despite heavy casualties, in late January 1968, Muritala's troops stormed into Udi, Colonel Ude's hometown. Within days after the capture of Udi, Muritala's troops captured Ozara, cutting off Colonel Frank Obiara's S Brigade and the Biafran 14th Battalion at Emene from the rest of Biafra. At this point, Ojukwu sacks Colonel Ude and replaces the S Brigade commander, Major Obioha, with Colonel Timothy Onwatuegu. Supported by artillery and aerial bombardment, Muritala's division rolled on. Umudim, Amokwe, Oji River, Agobu, Ugoba are all overrun. In the face of overwhelming pressure, Biafran troops withdraw from Oka town and take up defensive positions on the banks of the Ngene Ukwa River. On January 19, 1968, the Nigerian 2nd Division occupied Biafran Army Commander Major General Alexander Madiebo's hometown, Oka. The road to Onitsha was open. In the face of this impending disaster, Odumegwu Ojukwu replaces 11th Division Commander Colonel Conrad Nwawo with the tough Lieutenant Colonel Joe Achuzie, Biafra's most gifted operations commander. His mission: to prevent Muritala's 2nd Division from capturing Onitsha at all costs. Every time Muritala's troops attacked, Achuzie's troops counterattacked. As a result, from late January up till mid-March 1968, Achuzie was able to hold the Nigerian 2nd Division around Dunukofia and Ifite-Ekpo, 14 miles from Onitsha. But the Biafrans from the beginning lacked the firepower and armored cars at Muritala's disposal. And even though Achuzie's troops made the Nigerian 2nd Division pay in blood every inch of land captured, inexorably, the Nigerian 2nd Division through Abagana, Ogidi, Nkpo, and finally Onitsha. The final battle of Onitsha would last 24 hours. For victory in the Nigerian Biafran War was to be determined not by willpower, but by firepower. Nigeria's Major Olorin would die in Onitsha. Defeated at Onitsha, the Biafran defenders of the town break into two. One group under Colonel Conrad Nwawo retreats south to Newi. The other, under Colonel Achuzie, marches to the Enugu-Onitsha road where they lay ambush. Due to the speed with which Colonel Muritara had raced into Onitsha, he was obliged to leave his stores and other supplies behind. Now a 102 lorry convoy from Enugu was on its way to Onitsha to deliver those supplies. At Abagana, 6 miles from Onitsha, the convoy falls into Achuzie's ambush. A Biafran locally made rocket is fired at a tanker at the front of the convoy, igniting an explosion which engulfs 100 lorries behind it, devastating the entire convoy. Abagana, Abagana, Abagana. The Abagana ambush will be the greatest ambush of the Civil War. And so it was that Joe Achuzie became the Hannibal of Biafra. The tragic story of the Battle of Onitsha remains incomplete without mention of Operation Hiroshima. Since the beginning of the Civil War, there had been conflict between Biafran officers who had served the Nigerian army and white mercenaries hired by Biafra. To discredit the mercenaries, Biafran Army Commander Alexander Madiebo and Major General Philip Effiong convinced Ojukwu to force mercenary commander Colonel Rolf Steiner to attack Onitsha through open terrain. As a result, against his will, Colonel Steiner moved his troops from their base at Madonna High School at Etiti near Umuahia and took up positions at Nkwele outside Onitsha. These were the men who had fought at Okunano, Fegi, Owaza, and Chokochu. They would die, they knew, but they believed their legend would remain. They did not know they were pawns in the trial of strength between their commanders. On the 15th of November, Steiner's commandos launched Operation Hiroshima, an attack on Onitsha across an open field. With neither air support nor natural obstacles to hide behind, Nigerian artillery and machine gun fire decimate the attacking Biafran commandos. Unknown in death, forgotten by history, this is the anonymity of sacrifice. 2 weeks later, Colonel Rolf Steiner was removed from his command and replaced by Colonel Conrad Nwawo, a former officer of the Nigerian army. But never again till the end of the war would the Nigerian 2nd Division's control of Onitsha ever be threatened. Within weeks, General Gowon was reviewing federal troops on an official visit to Enugu. Biafra had lost the war on the northern front forever. Following the defeat of the Biafran army in the Cross River region, the Biafrans regrouped the remnants of their troops into a Biafran 12th Division under Colonel Festus Zakaga. This 12th Division is divided into the 56th Brigade under Colonel Simon Uwakwe, based at Arochukwu, and the 58th Brigade commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Ifeanyi Anyebo, based at Uyo. Oron and Itu beaches come under heavy federal aerial and naval bombardment. 9th of March, Major Ted Herman's 33rd Battalion fights its way into Allen sawmills, then quickly overruns the town. Confused by the swiftness of the Nigerian advance, Lieutenant Colonel Ifeanyi Anyebo loses control of his troops. Consequently, hundreds of Biafran troops are cut off and forced to surrender when federal troops from Oron link up at Uyo with the Nigerian 16th and 17th Brigade from Itu. The 16th Brigade under Lieutenant Colonel Utuk and the 17th Brigade under Lieutenant Colonel Shande stormed through Eket, crossed the Imo River and occupied Opobo town. With the Biafrans in retreat, the Nigerian 15th Brigade, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Alani Akinrinade and based at Bonny, launches an attack on Port Harcourt. At the time, the entire Port Harcourt sector was defended by the Biafran 52nd Brigade under Lieutenant Colonel Ogbogu Kalu. After heavy fighting, Colonel Akinrinade's troops capture and dig in at One. This success would be short-lived. Major Giorgio Nobiato, the Italian-born Biafran mercenary, unexpectedly counterattacks, inflicting heavy casualties before forcing the Nigerian 15th Brigade out of One. Major Nobiato is subsequently killed during his bid to repulse Lieutenant Colonel Shande's 17th Brigade from Umuabai. The Nigerian 17th Brigade follows up its success by capturing Afam, whose power station provides most of Biafra's electricity. And so darkness fell on Biafra. The great 17th Brigade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Shande, would die later in action on the Aba front. At Bori, Colonel Opara's 14th Battalion panicked and retreated when they found themselves face to face with troops wearing the insignia of the 14th Brigade, leaving the way for Lieutenant Colonel Eromobo's Nigerian 14th Brigade to capture Bori. As Biafran lines in the Port Harcourt sector crumble, Okokondem appeals over Radio Biafra for the defense of the town. comes under ferocious artillery bombardment. From the Okrika Evidently, despite the fanatical tenacity of Achuzie's defense, the side with greater firepower was ultimately condemned to win. May 24th, 1968. Port Harcourt is subjected to extremely heavy naval and aerial bombardment. Battle rages on the outskirts of town. Attempts by the inhabitants of Port Harcourt to flee the town are prevented by Colonel Achuzie. Achuzie is determined to transform the defense of Port Harcourt into a people's war, a fight to the last man. But by mid-May, Achuzie's troops had been forced out of walls of Port Harcourt town. The airport and army barracks changed hands on several occasions. Eventually, though, federal troops captured them for good. Even after the bulk of his troops had retreated from Port Harcourt, Lieutenant Colonel Joe Achuzie, an engineer in Port Harcourt before the war, fought on until he narrowly escaped being run over by an armored car. Only then did he finally retreat to Igrita. The date was May 19th, 1968. Port Harcourt had fallen. Promoted to full colonel, Achuzie hands over command of the Biafran 52nd Brigade to Navy Captain Anuku, but not without a warning.
That I'm not here doesn't mean that I'm still not here, because I'll be coming down to make sure that nobody lets me down. Moreover, for those who already gave their life, I don't need to tell you that they all expect that we emerge victorious.
As long as the one persists and they support the alternative continue, you continue fighting.
The 7th March 1969, Nigerian troops strike Biafran defenses at Amokwe and move towards Ozuakoli. A 480-man recruit battalion under Colonel Akaga, sent to stop the federal advance, engages the advancing Nigerian army at Ahaba and is instantly crushed. $450 men of the Biafran 8th Commando Brigade under Major Ananaba are thrown into the fray. Unstoppable under Major, supported by heavy aerial bombardment. Rwanda's troops overrun Umuezike. Then on the 30th of March 1969, they capture Ozuakoli, a few miles from the Biafran capital, Umuahia. Because at this point in time, the most known Biafran turned up with troops of his tribe. On April 5th, it was at Umuahia. Achuzie pushes federal troops out of most of Ozuakoli. However, at Ozuakoli Bridge, federal troops regroup and halt the Biafran advance. The Federal 82nd Battalion counterattacks. However, its commander, Major Ibrahim Babangida, is wounded and evacuated. He is replaced by Major Maman Vatsa, who succeeds in forcing the Biafrans out of Ozuakoli. And so the Nigerian 1st Division turned the full might of its artillery on the Ozuakoli-Umuahia road. Because the Biafrans knew the Nigerian army traditionally advanced using main roads, the Ozuakoli-Umuahia road was heavily mined and backed up with obstacles, fell trees and ditches. An attempt by the Nigerian 25th Battalion to snatch Umuahia led to the Biafran decimation of the 25th Battalion. April 11, 1969, the Nigerian army calls in for air support. From Ozuakoli to Umuokpara and Emeke to Umuahia, a veritable tornado of bombs and fire ravaged Biafran control areas of the Umuahia sector. Using track tanks, the Nigerian 21st and 44th battalions swing towards Umuahia through the forest, taking the Biafrans by surprise. Such was the surprise that when Colonel Asoya, the new Biafran commander of the Umuahia sector, went to check reports of a Nigerian advance across country, he found himself face to face with the advancing Nigerian army and no Biafran defenders. 48 hours later, the Nigerian army was in total control of Umuahia. The loss of Umuahia was destined not to be Biafra's fatal last blow. For at Owerri, Colonel Utuk's Nigerian 16th Brigade had been cut off from Colonel Adenkule's 3rd Division. The second in command, Major Ted Haman, had died in action. A concerted attack by Colonel Asoya's Biafran 60th Brigade, moving from the west, Major Igweze's 52nd Brigade from the north, and the 68th Battalion of Colonel Onwategu's Strike Brigade, moving from the east, forced Lieutenant Colonel Utuk to order his troops to fight their way out of the town. That same day, the Biafrans reoccupied Owerri. The capture of Owerri greatly overjoyed the inhabitants of the ever-decreasing enclave of Biafra. On Thanksgiving Day, 1st June 1969, Ojukwu proclaims the Ahira Declaration, a document which condemned corruption in Biafra, called for self-reliance, social justice, and loyalty to Biafra. Over in federal